I just want to do a really quick video showing you the way that I personally do character sheets completely free with a tool that everybody has available. And you might kind of thumb your nose at this, but there's something that you can do with this beyond it being free and completely platform independent and completely mobile friendly and everything else. There's something cool that you can do with this that you can't do, as far as I'm aware, with any other system. This is not going to be terribly shocking or long, but I've got a few cool things that I just want to show you that how I run my game and how it makes our lives so much easier. And that's just using Google Spreadsheets. I'm going to show you just a couple different things that make it really cool and a really, really handy feature that you can tie in that's going to make your games a lot easier that even D&D Beyond can't yet do this. So Google Spreadsheets, first, it's totally free. All you have to have is a Gmail account. You can set it up. You can use it on your phone, tablet, computer, anywhere in the world. So it makes it super accessible. And again, this is how I run my game. So let me hide my ugly face here and I will show you what I've got. This is just a really simple character spreadsheet. So obviously you've got your stats. If you're lazy, you can do the little math, which is subtract 10 and then divide by 2. That's how you go from here. And then this little round down function is what allows you to get here so you don't wind up with, 2.5 or whatever, right? You'll see there's this plus D2 that's a bonus over here. Let's say you cast the spell Cat's Grace, right? That increases your stat by 4, which will increase your mod by 2. So if you just put into the bonus 2, then boom, that's going to increase the modifier, and you can tie this elsewhere. If those of you with eagle eyes notice that I added this bonus of 2, you'll see that the initiative jumps up by 9. That's because, again, we are going to use formulas throughout this whole spreadsheet. Now, none of this is super sexy or super exciting, right? You've probably seen spreadsheets before. You know how this stuff works, but I'll show you something that is really exciting if you're running a party. You can have a group DM shared spreadsheet, or you can also tie this to an individual spreadsheet. Where this comes in the most handy for my player group is we have a bard who can do Inspire Courage, and then we've also got a bard who can do some debuffs on the bad guys. And this makes that super easy. So if you look here right now, the attacks with these two weapons, which Serenity and Clamor are actually Vo-Kath's weapons for my Tollus campaign. If you don't care about Tollus, ignore that. If you do, watch some of my other videos. But watch this. So this attack is 10 plus 10, right? Well, if I come over here and if Vo uses her, her Inspire Courage, or maybe let's just do it really simple. Somebody casts Bless, right? That gives everybody a +1 to their attack bonus, right? Come back over here and boom, you actually just watched all of those numbers increase. You can do this across the entire range of all your characters so that they don't have to remember all of this stuff. They can say Bless is in effect, it's +1. You could say, okay, well, they also Inspire Courage for +3, so that's going to bring this up to +4. We come back over here and you're going to see that this range updates, boom. Also, if you're using, depends on the platform, but we often like to use this where on rpol.net, there is a way to do a click to roll. So you literally can click this number and boom, it immediately takes you to RPOL and actually rolls the dice right in there. It's really handy. You can do the same thing with the damage. So these are the two most complicated pieces that I'm going to show you. And once you've learned these two abilities, then you will be able to use just about any combination you can possibly imagine. Any numbers that you see in here that you want to tie together, you can easily do, right? So your initiative, you can see here I did 4 because they've got improved initiative plus the dexterity modifier. If the dexterity modifier goes up, that goes up. You can tie these together as well where their fort saves, reflex saves, will save. Obviously, if any of these mods go up, they're going to go up. And you can tie those in. Like if you've got a cleric or something that is constantly casting a spell which increases those saves, you can add that to this DM shared sheet, or you can tie them together. So if you have your cleric's character sheet, you can have that they have, an on-off buff option, right? So they say Bless is active +1. Well, then you can add that as a reference to another spreadsheet, and then that adds into these. So that's what D&D Beyond can't do. This is one of the best things that we found that just makes our lives so much easier, because whenever that Inspire Courage is active, then boom, everybody's spreadsheet is updated. We've also got one, this damage doesn't show it, but Vo-Kath's character can also add extra damage dice to here. That's an on-off thing, so we've actually just been adding those in. But again, it would be super simple for us to show there's this damage plus extra damage, blah, blah, blah. So let me show you these two functions. The first one is going to be import range. Now, if you're using a local spreadsheet, meaning just installed on your computer, then you don't need to use this as much. You can do a cross-reference just by clicking. If you are using Google Sheets, like I'm recommending, for you to get data from a separate spreadsheet, then you have to use this import range feature. And what that does is it uses this big, long URL string, which if you'll come over here and look, it matches what this is up here. You will need to make sure that they are shared. You can click share here, and you want to change this get link option to anyone with the link. That way you don't have to worry about permissions getting locked out and all that kind of stuff. And then you can copy this link. That goes into the import range function. You can see here, import range. I've got this. And then if you're only referencing one thing, you just have to put in the sheet name, which is almost always sheet 1, the exclamation mark, and then whatever number it is, number and letter that you're referencing. So if we come back over here, you'll see that this is an attack bonus, so I'm referencing B1. Anytime this number changes, then that import range is going to update, and you're going to see all of those numbers change. So again, you can see what I've done here is I've included that in a grouping of parentheses. So this attack bonus is actually C2, which is just her strength modifier because that's what she uses, plus her base attack modifier, plus whatever that modifier is over there, right? And again, DMs, you could have every character sheet reference this one, and then you could say, you know, bless is active for 10 rounds or whatever. And then you can even get creative in here. I haven't done this for a little while, but one of the things that you could do is you could also put a round count in here. So you could say like bless, you could say 10 rounds, and then you could say elapsed rounds is 5, right? And you could easily do a math calculation in here that says, you know, equals if this round is, or if this is less than this or greater than this, then add that number. And so you could just come in here and say 6 rounds, 7 rounds, and then when you get to round 11, you could have that bless drop off, right? Some pretty simple logic. I don't want to get too deep into spreadsheet logic here, but this allows you just infinite customizability, and it's not that complicated to do most of this stuff. If you have questions in the comments, please leave them there. I'll try to help you through. I'm not exactly a spreadsheet guru, but I've done a little bit. The next feature is going to be this thing called concatenate. Now, if you just typed in 1d8 plus, then the math is not going to work. Anytime you need to mix a word system like just text with math, you're going to need to use this concatenate function. And all it does, you can do this as many times as you want. So for example, if I wanted to do 1d8 plus whatever, then you can do that, or you could do like 1d8 plus and then have like a comma down here and then do plus, you know, you do the whoops, sorry, I clicked off of there. You do a text of like plus 2d6, like if they do holy damage or something like that, right? And so then you can see there, I have plain text mixed with the calculation, this is the exact same system where the import range, you can see this is referencing B2 now. Come over here, B2 is the damage bonus. That's why it's in there. If you're wondering what the spreadsheet name is, by the way, it defaults to sheet 1. It's down here at the bottom. You can change this to whatever you want. If you change that, you do need to change what your import range function is. But so then you can see here, I just added that comma at the end and whatever the rest of that string is. So I'll look down here. So you've got the comma, you put it in parentheses, then you can put whatever you want there. If I wanted to include that like Dragonfire inspiration, then again, this is another way that I could do it. You could do an if statement in here that says if Dragonfire is active, then it adds 2d6 or whatever, and that's going to show up in this character spreadsheet. The last thing that I love about this is we always do like links and stuff like that, where you can link that to anything. If you don't know what will save means, you link to will save. If you link here, you know, if you've got special abilities and stuff like that you can't remember, you can do links to the websites, or you could also do subsheets that have the full text of all of the special abilities that you've got, and you want them to put in there, and you can do an offline spreadsheet, and then even if you lose internet connection, you've got everything there. I said last, but there's one more thing. The other thing that this comes in super handy, 5th edition I know has way fewer skills, but if you are playing D&D 3.5, if you're playing Pathfinder 1st edition, then this is so stinking handy. These ability mods you can see here equals C6. These are referencing the ability mods that are in there. Therefore, if you do something like cast Cat's Grace, then every dexterity-based modifier is going to go up, and all of the skill modifier, then what you roll is going to go up. And then you don't have to like remember that that's active or whatever. It's just super easy. You modify it in one spot and it's going to change everything for you. And then obviously you can come down here and do your spells. Again, most of the time we link to the spells so you can click to them. You can also put notes in here. Like if you wanted to do just a quick note, I'll jump back over here. So if you want to do a note, you can just do insert note and then say, this is when I attack with my sword, right? Like whatever you want. And then these are super simple. Otherwise you can do a link if you needed to go to something more complicated or whatever, you know, if you're not worried about not having an internet connection. But again, that offline feature is super, super cool. Same here with this, these spell save DCs. You can see they are using a math function. It's really simple. So again, if you cast something like Owl's Wisdom, right, then if your wisdom goes up and you're a wisdom-based caster, you can have your spell save DCs automatically go up. And this is just so handy. You can give your narrator or DM access to this spreadsheet, and each of your players do, so they can update everything on there. This is the way I love to run my games, and it is so handy to have that like DM level editing thing where I can say, here's the ability modifiers, here's the damage modifiers, attack modifiers. Also, I can put in the negatives in there. So you could do a really quick math computation to say, yes, blessed is cast, but then here's this negative thing that's coming against you. So maybe it cancels it out or it actually drops down to 1. Again, like I said about the round count, that'd be a really simple thing. Maybe I need to do a special spreadsheet and share that with you folks. I don't have any like spreadsheet links to share with this because you can customize it however you want. I showed you those 3 different things, just regular math, the import range, and then the concatenate functions are, I believe that's all the really custom functions I've used. You can get into like if statements and stuff like that. If you really want me to go into detail, then maybe I could do that or like set up a template or something. Let me know if that's something you guys are interested in. I lied. I said this was going to be a short video, and here it is, 12 darn minutes. So hopefully this helps you. D&D Beyond might be too limited. Maybe you're playing some other role-playing game that does not have a default app or a good character sheet or something like that. Google Spreadsheets is free. It is nearly endlessly customizable. So I hope this helps some folks out there. If you also Google whatever your RPG name is, like D&D or Pathfinder, and Google Sheets character sheet or Google character sheet, Google, whatever, right? If you Google that, there is probably a free one out there that will do most of what you want, and then you can customize it after that. Hopefully this was helpful. If you don't know, I've got d20.pub as a website to try to give a lot of information about RPG stuff. I also have ptol.us, which is an unofficial Tolus website. If you don't know anything about Tolus, it's the City by the Spire from Monty Cook Games. Amazing setting. I've run a game in there, play by post, since 2017, and it is just my favorite thing ever. Check out those websites. I do now finally have Patreon support. I'm not creating any Patreon specific content yet or like Patreon exclusive stuff. I am just trying to get in the flow of this. I had enough people say, I really wish you'd set this up. And so I was like, sure, I'll do that. Super blessed. Thank you so much for everybody that's backing me there. As always, if you've got questions, comments, anything, please leave those in there. If you're into Tolus, check out the Tolus Discord. And I think that's it for now. Sorry that I lied and said this was going to be a short video when it is not at all. All right, I hope you have an awesome day, and I hope all of your dice come up 20. Peace out.